You're listening to End of the Reel.
Oh my god!
G'day everyone and welcome to a brand new episode. Today we're doing Bloodrayne Deliverance. I am your host Jared and this is my co-host Ethan.
Hi.
And that was a really quick start. Let's get to Deliverance. Isn't this an amazing movie? It is the sequel to Bloodrayne.
And the middle of the Bloodrayne Uwe Boll trilogy, I think.
You gotta say, Uwe Boll, he knows how to take a movie and
just drive it into the ground.
he knows how to film a movie. He films movies not well. How does he get them out? I do not know. How does he get them out? How does he get them out?
How is this profitable at all?
Wait, did it make a profit? Profit.
It is cost apparently like half as much as less
No,
than half of the
okay.
first movie, and it shows a lot. This movie was made for $10 million, and I think it was made. I'm pretty sure it is made like at one of those model towns,
like an amusement park.
And I'm pretty sure he's just hired the staff to like walk around and just look at the camera occasionally.
That, or he's not told them, and he said it was going to be a documentary piece, but
because
people keep running around pretending to be vampires.
Yeah, because the town looks real, and everyone's dressed in period clothes, and all the not the main actors, but all like the extras and stuff, they're all putting on like accents and stuff.
Oh,
like they seem to be trying and putting a lot of effort into it.
I gotta get to the accent about the vampire later.
And they're pretty enthusiastic. I actually enjoyed a lot of the extras, like the mayor. I enjoyed him. I enjoyed.
You enjoy a lot of shit, don't you? You really enjoy shit.
Yeah, you know what? Because I kept thinking, it'd be a cool movie if it was about the mayor and like vampires come to town and take over his town,
and he has to
like
back.
rally the town against them. Instead, it's the town hide out in the bar while Bloodrayne comes in, leaves, and comes back with a small posse.
The townspeople were the most annoying part in the film for me.
Really?
By far.
Okay, no, so that is not... I'm talking about, like, as the characters and the actors.
Yeah.
Not the story having them run in and out of the bar, like, 5 times after being rallied by different speeches.
That was so... Like, I know that we'll talk about it later, but they talk about, like, they rally them up, and then they cut to the scenes of the action going on. Then they rally them up, then they cut to this... Like, they got rallied up, like, 5 or 6
Jared,
times.
You've got to stretch this movie to be, like, an hour and 40 minutes.
You know what I think? I think the townspeople, they didn't care about the kids. They were happy.
Did they even care about anything?
Did you also
It made sense when they were brainwashed by the vampire guy, but that seemed to wear off pretty, like, halfway through. Suddenly they just cared about the kids. Well, okay, so when Billy the Kid rides into town...
Oh, yeah, he brainwashes them.
He can hypnotize them, and they just, like, automatically start doing what he tells them to.
He does
but,
that,
like, halfway
once.
through, I don't know, maybe they forgot about it.
Yeah.
And they're just worried about the fact that he's holding their kids hostage.
I totally forgot.
Maybe that was a short-term thing, but the journalist is like hypnotized.
No, the journalist
later
is never
on, like halfway
hypnotized.
through. No, he is when he's taking notes and is spying for Billy the Kid.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, this movie is much deeper than I first thought it was. I probably should do a second viewing. I think that's what this movie needs. A second viewing.
Oh, yeah.
Because, trust me, you won't get the whole story and plot in one viewing.
I think I would have enjoyed this movie more if I had known I could fast forward through like half of it. Because there are huge gaps where nothing is happening. It is a 30-minute
movie. It is a 30-minute movie stretched out to an hour 30. That's its biggest crime.
The problem is the second half, apart from the fact that she goes on an unannounced side quest with her new partner,
Right.
All of the scenes are cut up. It reminded me of the last of the old Star Wars, when they're fighting on the planet and they're fighting... Luke is fighting Vader, and then there's also this ship battle going on, and it cuts between all 3.
Yeah.
It sort of does
Man,
that.
I was thinking about Star Wars
but
Episode
there's
1.
nothing happening between them.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be, the priest and Slimeball are about to be ambushed, and it's just them being tense, and then it'll cut to something else happening for like 10 or so minutes, then come back to them, and they're still like stuck in slow-mo and nothing is happening, and it'll be them stuck in slow-mo for 4 minutes. It'll cut back to something else, and then it'll come back to them. And it made everything feel like everything was happening with like 20 minutes between these pretty short scenes.
Slow-mo. I think I
I
get it right. Matrix. All right, 1999. Matrix, lots of cool slow-mo, but slow-mo's cool, right? I think the thing is what happened was people thought slow-mo itself is what's cool, right? And now they overused it because this is 2007. They overuse slow-mo to the point where it's just ridiculous and
I
it's
think
not interesting.
it's more to compensate for the fact that the action itself was terrible.
Shit. So they're like, well, if we make it slow-mo, it's funny.
Maybe, yep. And there's so little action. For an hour and 40 minutes, there's 4 fights.
But you know what I mean, though?
And they
If
are
you
over
slow-mo-
so quickly. There's like one gunfight that actually goes to like more than a minute.
But if you slow-mo something that's not interesting, it's not suddenly more interesting because it's in slow-mo. It's actually more boring.
Don't you want slow-mo of like her trying to stand up for like 5 minutes?
Oh, there's so much slow-mo. So much inappropriate. We need to like coin some kind of phrase of like inappropriate use of slow-mo.
I understood the storyline, like the structure of the story, but it was just so badly done.
It was
It
poor
was, it was like
execution in every
painful
sense.
to watch.
Directing was terrible. The acting,
First-
was it Natasha?
The main actors in this are horrible to watch.
She is so bad.
This is a different woman playing Bloodrayne than the first one. In the first one, I think she was okay.
She was competent.
She was competent. This one feels like they have picked a model who hasn't acted before, or maybe she's just acted in like some really bad like daytime soap opera sort of stuff.
Terrible.
Yeah, and she can't actually do any of the fight action in these stuff, so they don't even try.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah, they don't.
No,
Hey,
they don't even try to do
I
fights.
just realized they don't even have a fight in this. Wow.
Oh, they have a little bit of a fight, but it's over in a couple of seconds when she just cuts his knives in half.
Isn't it crazy that like I just realized everything I'm going to talk about is how Bloodrayne, the first one, is better than this. That's not good.
Well,
That's not
when
good.
I first heard about the second Bloodrayne, after we watched the first one, I looked them up.
You wondered why.
No, well, I was actually kind of looking forward to it in a way because it sounded cool.
Oh, yeah.
Bloodrayne in a Western.
We
So
should
it's
set
like
that up.
Western vampires. That
Yeah.
sounds awesome.
You know, it'd be cool if Western vampires like did duels and stuff like that, but were vampires. Wrong. For some reason, the vampire.
They do that once.
Do they?
And then
Oh,
it's-
yeah, they do.
And then it's
sorry.
over 2 seconds later.
And the main vampire, who's Billy the Kid, who, you know, well-known cowboy
Well,
outlaw.
it's hinted that a lot of these outlaws in the Old West were actually vampires because I think the
I think
the
the first
Clanton
one.
they name dropped the Clanton gang at the end, and she's gonna go team up with Wyatt Earp and stuff.
See, that's the thing. That's kind of interesting. It's an
Yeah.
It sounds fun. It really sounds fun. And then
And they grind the premise into the ground.
Well, I just found the crazy bit was it sounded fun, and then Billy the Kid's like, "I don't use guns," and I'm like, Why is this a Western? Why are
Yeah.
we doing a Western themed if we don't like our main character's like, I don't use guns?
Well, it was just him who doesn't use the guns. And his barely
I know,
in it.
but he's like a well-known, established, like, you
also,
know.
I can't remember in the first one.
What
the
is
vampires
wrong with
weren't
Uwe Boll?
The vampires weren't constantly making animal noises in the first one.
Oh, they said that they all got pig noises.
Yeah,
out of, like,
all
a
the
video
vampires like they hiss like cats, and whenever they die, they make pig noises like dying pigs. It was really weird, and it's obvious that it's been like dubbed over them and stuff.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can see their mouths making different sounds, but it's like this weird pig dying noise coming out.
Well, we also have the thing that they have a weird freaking thing about. This isn't a lot of low budget films, but they have a thing where like if someone moves or does something, they'll put in like sound effects, which sometimes don't even match up.
Yeah.
Like they'll tear.
That happens a lot. Yeah, like in one of the
happened at the
first
start.
scenes. One of the first scenes, the bad guy comes into this small cabin. They've killed the parents, and they're about to take the kids. And he drags his hand along the bed, and he's obviously just like barely touching it, and he's wearing gloves. But you hear this ripping sound, like he's tearing the fabric with his claws. But he's wearing gloves and stuff, and you can see nothing's happening.
They do it in a lot of lower budget.
A lot of
films.
little things like that where they've put sound effects in for no reason.
To be fair, even though I'm critiquing that, that's kind of what I normally like about these crap movies is that they normally put in like way over the top sound effects to compensate for something that didn't even happen.
So I think one of the worst parts about this movie,
Was that we watched it?
No, it
I
was
think
the
it's
hand cam.
The what?
The fact
Oh,
that
the handy
for
cam.
some reason
Hand.
they just decided the entire movie should be shot like it's a handheld thing,
Yeah, that wasn't
which
cool.
makes, I mean, apart from the fact that it just doesn't make sense, it is terribly done. Like it felt like they had to have applied it as an effect or something, but because even someone holding a camera does not shake that
I
much.
don't know. I
I
think
felt physically sick at some points in this
I
film.
think the problem
just
is
because
that,
the camera was just shaking
yeah. Well, the
all
problem
over
is
the place.
it's not handheld shots. It's like a normal way that a B grade movie would be shot. Like that this is the angle they'll shoot. But instead they're like, okay, make it handheld.
Yeah.
But it's from the same angle, so it's like very few scenes actually took into account it being handheld.
Maybe
like there's a few.
I don't know what the thought was behind that. Either they couldn't afford to actually shoot it properly, or maybe they thought they were being artsy or something. But I think it was they just couldn't afford it, and they thought this looked better for some
I
reason.
normally don't like handheld sort of footage, but
I don't either. But this is like one of the worst that I've ever seen.
yeah. Oh no, I was trying to say like there are movies, even if it's like a period piece, where in handheld can make you feel more immersed.
Yeah, this is
But-
not one of them.
But you know, shock and awe, Uwe Boll did not pull it off.
People will be
It's
standing
like-
still talking,
Yeah.
but their camera will be shaking all over the place.
just shaking like crazy.
Yeah.
They got a what's his name holding the camera from Back to the Future.
Are you trying to make a Michael J. Fox joke?
I was, but I wasn't very smooth because I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
Classy.
All right.
Very classy.
That's the joke for the episode done, folks.
Ugh.
So let's actually like try and decipher the plot. No,
Well-
it's an easy plot.
Oh, the plot's very easy. So Billy the Kid is some sort of ancient vampire.
Is he or just some kind of special vampire?
The train, well, yeah, because he's stronger than all the others. But the train is coming into the like the American old westy area by this town called Deliverance. He's going to take over the town
And then
and use the trains to spread vampires all over America.
no, but I thought he was just gonna wait till the train like arrives with people, and then he's gonna eat the people. Like,
Yeah,
every time.
and spread the vampires everywhere and like take over America.
It seemed very short-sighted.
So he has to make sure the town looks normal until the trains actually turn up, because they aren't turning up for another couple of days.
Yeah.
So he has taken all of the he takes all the kids hostage and turns a couple of the townspeople and just tells them to sort of act normally, I guess.
Yeah. Kind of. I suppose.
Yeah. So Rain, who is the same Bloodrayne, I mean, I think the character is the same from the first movie. She is not an actual vampire. She's a Dampier, so she can walk in daylight and do all this other crap that the other vampires can't. She comes in because apparently some of the kids were her friends.
Were there a few night for day shots?
No, well, that's weird. Everything looks like it's shot during the night, and I think it's because the model town was open during the day.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do it. But it makes no sense, because it's like, why would you go and confront these vampires during the night rather than during the day? But whatever.
Yeah, your one ability is to be able to be like good during the day, and they do it at night.
She
Every
turns
time.
up because she's hunting some of the vampires who are outlaws.
It definitely was the model. It's the model village is open during the day.
Yeah.
And they were like, we both like, can we shoot here during the day? And they're like, no.
Because a lot of buildings looked like they were large used buildings.
yeah.
So I don't know. But okay, this is where the movie, like, for
Maybe-
the first time,
maybe
it
he
begins
built
to
it.
stall for time.
Maybe
almost.
he built this in Romania though. Like it's a $10 million budget.
No,
right?
because in the Romanian one, the first one shot in Romania, and apart from the main characters, no one can speak English, basically.
That's
and
true.
they're terribly dubbed. In this movie, all the background characters, they actually talk, and they seem enthusiastic. I know you didn't like the townspeople, but they were the best part of the movie for me, just because they actually seem to want to act.
yeah, true.
Yeah, this is where the movie, like, for the first time starts to stall for time for some reason, because rather than get into a fight with the vampires straight away, she plays cards with them. She argues, and then she starts to play cards, and
Oh
we
my
see them
goodness.
playing cards for like 5 minutes.
Can you believe that?
Okay, it feels like it's a long time.
So
but
it
isn't.
seems like, well, all we know, okay, so there's this family at the very start, and
who
they-
are apparently Bloodrayne's friends.
right. So they hear something outside, and the guy goes, it's that damn bear again. And then he proceeds to pick up like a double-barreled shotgun, something that I don't think would be very effective against the bear.
I'm pretty sure if you shot a bear
No,
with...
I'm pretty sure that's not what you shoot bears with.
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean-
okay, maybe there is a special gun to shoot a bear, but it's going to scare it off, at least.
Or piss it off.
Well, yeah, he could just run back into the house.
I just thought that was the dumbest idea of what he just did.
I don't
Taking
know
that shotgun
enough
out.
about bears. Maybe it's like a small bear, like a black bear, not a brown
Oh,
bear or
yeah,
whatever.
true.
I don't know. The only way I know about bears is from playing Red Dead Redemption and listening to Dwight from The Office.
Well, you're more of a bear expert than I am.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
What
I've
was your
read a
point
few
about-
books about bears. I just
Were
thought
you
it was
gonna-
very
were you gonna mention the
irresponsible of him.
whooshing and stuff?
I just thought, why would he have that gun?
Why wouldn't he have a gun?
None of the guns looked like they were period pieces.
Yeah, a
Except
lot of
for maybe
shorn off shotguns.
A lot of shorn off shotguns. Very odd. Why would they have shorn off shotguns?
I don't know, Jared.
This movie was not accurate to its
I don't know enough about
period.
guns from that time to comment.
I know nothing about guns, but I'm going to make these comments.
Okay.
That's basically me all life. What was I saying? The people in the place?
Yeah, so for some reason they end up having a card game. And this is in the
Oh.
town of Deliverance where
No, so but when she finds out
Oh,
that
yeah.
those friends of her are dead,
yeah,
she also meets the other dude for like 2 seconds.
who we never learn the name of. She ends up with 4 companions and 3 companions.
Yeah.
Oh, 4 if you count that brimstone guy who gets hung.
Were you surprised by
And
that?
you never learn any of their names except for one of them. And it's
Didn't
like
he
a
seem-
throwaway joke.
Didn't that Brimstone guy in the prison seem to be
I thought
like...
he was going to like escape with her.
Yeah, he seemed to be like a decent character. He was kind of the young guy. Yeah,
who
no.
actually might have explained, who completely explained what was happening. There's a lot of exposition in this film.
And then he just gets hung. And I was really expecting something.
We should explain how she got into jail.
Oh, okay, all right, sorry.
Because
sorry.
it's one of the
I'm
stupid
jumping. I'm
bits.
jumping. I'm
Yeah,
jumping.
well,
I'm jumping.
She,
Here we go.
So they have this
No,
card game.
She finds her friend's dead.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, I'm going to save the kids. And then she gets to town. And then instead of trying to save the kids, she just starts playing cards.
Well, she goes in, starts a fight, stops the fight, and they just play cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, she wins, and this aggravates the vampires. We know they're vampires, and she knows they're vampires. They go outside. She duels him in one of the very few like actual action bits of the movie. Kills him dead because she's got special bullets, and the other vampires immediately walk up to her and arrest her. And I was expecting there to be a fight. Maybe she has to escape. Nope, the sheriff who got turned just comes up and just smacks her in the head with his gun.
Yeah. And then she's in prison and there's this other dude and he starts explaining everything and you're like, oh, I know this guy's going to
Massive
join.
exposition done.
But it's pretty obvious.
It turns out Brimstone is also in America.
He's
and
the young
they've
guy.
been tracking him.
And he's totally going to bone her. And it's going to, maybe they'll bone through the cell. I'm expecting
Well, I
another
thought he was
sex
going to be
scene.
an actual character because he has so many lines. They build up his character so much in the short amount of time he's
He
in
is
it.
the
He gets
only
more-
other character.
He gets more character development and lines than anyone else in the film, and he's in it for like 5 minutes.
And then they just hang him. Just
yeah, the next
him.
day the vampires
Straight
come
up.
to hang them. They hang him first. I'm like, is he going to get saved?
Nope.
Because the other Brimstone guy possibly is there.
Not in this movie. No, sir. We're going to build this character up and hang him. I reckon that was
Yeah, so
them thinking it was really smart. I have a problem with this film where I think that they had a lot of... Whoops, I'm kicking everything. They had a lot of scenes where they thought they were being like really smart with the script. Like really, really like wise. And
I think they just didn't know what they were doing. Because
No,
the
they-
story is all over the place.
They had so... Like they have the line where the Billy the Kid says to the journalist dude, like, oh, so your life's reason is to record, to observe events. And the guy goes, yes. And Billy the Kid goes, well, what was it? I wrote it down somewhere.
Oh, Billy the Kid, by the way, is the only one who
then he
tries for
says-
like an old Romanian accent or something.
Which doesn't make
which
sense.
just comes
He's Billy the
across as
Kid.
comedic. And he's a Canadian actor doing this weird accent.
In
And he's the
America.
only one who tries.
But anyway, he says, then bear witness to the greatest events that shall happen, or like the greatest story that shall happen, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, those are the writers being like, this is really good. this is great.
They also try to be edgy a little. There's no nudity in this film, but I was thinking the R rating must come from the fact that he kills the children. Because
Which
he
is
kills
awesome.
He kills multiple children, which
I
you don't see much in movies.
I thought that was good. Them killing those kids was awesome.
Usually I'd be all for watching children die, but they were trying too hard.
Oh yeah,
They were making too much of a thing out of it.
I agree. That's the thing. It's the script thinking they're really smart. At the same time, they'll have really dumb scenes. Like this is the thing again. If the poor script, I always say it's something where they say what is literally happening in the scene in front of them, and that's the script. Like with this one, the journalist walks out, looks at the roads.
We should mention who the journalist is. There's two side characters, the journalist and the mayor. And even though they basically do nothing throughout the movie will focus on them for a long period and get them to talk. And I think it's because possibly they're the best actors in the movie. Even though I'm pretty sure they work at the model place and this is just their day job.
So I think
spouting like old-timey speak.
Well, I think the journalist is meant to have that classical role of
the journalist has
coward journalist who doesn't do anything
eventually
himself.
Grows a spine.
Right? Except that doesn't happen. But what's really weird is that he gets all the credit for
that
it.
That is his end character development, even though that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that was really annoying. I hated him.
This journalist has come to town to write about the real Old West, and of course the vampires turn up, so he starts writing about them and stuff.
But there's scenes where, like, this is what I mean by, like, really just shitty script writing for him, is he'll walk out, look at the train tracks being placed in, and instead of it being like proper dialogue, it'll be like, yes, I see the train tracks are being placed in.
The mayor was telling me the truth.
Yeah, it's like, that's shit. And that's when I know I'm watching a movie with shit dialogue. If you watch a Tarantino movie, right?
And they try to put in like Tarantino-esque dialogue into this film later on, and it is so terrible. It felt like a comedy skit.
But what I'm saying is, if you watch a Tarantino movie, right, Pulp Fiction,
yeah.
Okay, you know the start of Pulp Fiction where the two turn up to rob the Big Kahuna burger place? Oh, is it Big Kahuna? I don't even know if it is.
No, it's just the cafe.
The cafe, yeah?
Yeah.
They don't walk into the cafe. Oh, wait. Maybe I shouldn't have picked that one scene where they're like, this is the hold up.
Oh, yeah, but they talk about it first.
But they talk about, like, they don't walk in and go, this is a hold up. I am taking your money. I am taking your money. Like, that's the way they write scripts when it's bad. They just say like, I'm going to pull out a gun and I'm going to take your money. Like, it's so shit. They describe the scene and then make the actors say it.
But the mayor and the journalist, they're often the focus of the movie, to the point where I thought for a bit that they were almost the main characters, because it keeps going back to them making speeches about how they should be doing something. And right at the end of the film, the mayor like finally goes, okay, let's go stand up to Billy the Kid. Come on, these others are doing it. He shoots one vampire and immediately gets shot, and the townsfolk just run back into the building to get another pep talk from,
you're incorrect.
The journalist runs back into the building.
Only the journalist
went out with him.
They did this huge pep talk.
So the journalist runs back in to do more pep talks.
Well, the journalist runs back in and goes, oh, I can't do this alone. And I'm like, you literally did nothing. You didn't do anything. Fuck off.
When he finally comes
He's such a shit character.
When he finally comes out to confront the vampires, there's only one left.
There's the other woman. She shoots the vampire.
Yeah.
Not him.
He does nothing, but he ends up becoming the sheriff of the town because, I don't know, reasons?
I don't know. Because this movie's fucking stupid. I'm really trying not to. That just annoyed me. Like, I was really pissed off.
Yeah.
I hated his character. It was just annoying. It wasn't endearing. It wasn't charming in any way or funny or quirky.
I think he was one of the only people who had a name. He was like Piles or something.
He literally was.
Yeah.
Let's get to, so she gets out.
She's being hung, and she's manages to free herself and jump into the swamp. The guy who she met at her friend's cabin was about to save her. Was he part of Brimstone?
Yes.
He was.
They all were.
They all were, but okay, so apparently he's part of the Brimstone. This never gets brought up. We never learn this guy's name. We never learn any of her friends' names. This is only halfway through the film.
The preacher, I think.
Well, no, we just call him Preacher.
Yeah, that's
So-
close enough.
The guy who is in Brimstone goes and rescues her from the swamp, gives her some of her blood, and then it feels like there's a chunk of the film missing. Like, in a film so dense with exposition and crap, they don't explain what they're doing for the rest of the film.
You'd think. I don't get how they missed the
because
scene.
she
How
goes,
did they miss the scene saying we need more people? That's all they needed to
that's
say.
all they needed to say. Or him going, okay, we're going to assemble a team.
Instead, he
Instead-
literally shows a sign of a wanted picture, and I thought he was I thought that dude was a vampire.
Yeah, it feels like it felt like it was an RPG game where rather than pursuing the main quest, suddenly she goes off on this weird side quest with this guy because suddenly they're riding away to another part of the country,
But you know,
and he goes, and she actually goes, oh, what are we doing here? He hands her a poster with a wanted poster and this preacher guy, and that's all we know. We don't know why they've come to find this guy.
that was so dumb because okay, then we have sorry,
Then we have one of the most ridiculous parts of the movie. And
what,
this
a
is where the
sermon for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it's like they were trying to make like a Tarantino-y sort of like lots of big speech sort of thing where they go into the church and the preacher's making a huge deal out of everything and he's doing his huge sermon. It's so bad it came off as comedic. It reminded me of like the Asian guy from Community. It felt like he was doing the rant. That's the sort of thing he'd rant about if he was told to be an evil preacher, but way over the top. So, of course, the guy's a con man trying to get money.
So they threaten him, and he says, "Yeah, I'll join you."
After listening to his speech for 10 minutes.
Oh my goodness!
And it's
Did
so
you
weird
listen to it?
because
didn't.
he's counting the money and he sits down and is like laughing about it. And they go, "Hey, we've come to get you." And he turns around. It's a small room.
Aren't all
They've been
priests
sitting
con men?
there watching him. No, we're not.
Come
getting
on,
into
no,
that,
no,
Joe.
no, no. This is why I was confused with what was he doing wrong. He just he did his sermon and got paid. Technically, then by this movie's logic, all priests are con men for doing their sermon and then getting paid.
Yeah, but he was a hypocrite or something.
Was he?
Yeah, because he was sleeping with the prostitute later.
But he talked about how sex is great. He seemed like
Jared,
a very open.
I could not follow what he was
I didn't
talking
get
about.
how. That's what I meant. I don't get how he's a con man. That's it. I just don't get how he's a con man.
Anyway, we find out later that possibly he's in Brimstone or they brought him into Brimstone. I wasn't sure what was happening because nothing here is explained. We never even find out this guy's name, apart from that he's the preacher and that he smiles and tries to be badass all the time.
Yeah, there's so much.
They thought he was great, but he is just terrible.
If this movie could get away with sticking Ray-Bans and a big leather jacket on him or something like that, The Matrix.
Yeah,
Big
there
old-
are so many slow-mo shots of him like smiling and staring up at people and stuff like that, and like slowly having blood come out of his mouth.
They loved him. They thought he was the coolest thing out, and he was so lame.
Yeah, his whole thing was just it was comedic.
And
It's,
I mean, hey, let's go to our next character who we
that's
literally
it.
don't
They
get
just
a name
jumped
of.
to the next person, and okay, after they recruited him, I kind of figured out that they were recruiting people. Like, but I didn't know why they were picking these
But
people.
then we find out really randomly. They
Oh.
just go, "Oh well, Brimstone."
Well, we didn't know that till way later, where it turns out he's got a necklace. Because I was thinking, how are they going to get the preacher to help with the vampires? But they just go help with the vampires. He's like, oh, okay, sure, I'll help out
I didn't
vampires.
get any of this because if they were Brimstone, why they want? That's what it's like. Well, Brimstone. I much preferred the idea that these were like criminals. Like they were like, how do you take
And
down
they
criminals?
got him to like join up somehow. Like they offered them money or something, but they don't.
I thought this was Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
you get the criminals.
She's putting together like a hit squad to go in after them.
Yep. Now that would have been cool.
Yeah,
Instead, they I don't know. Are they even? I don't even know what they're doing bad, but they just turn out.
well, okay, so the preacher is a con man apparently.
Okay, cool. What's the other guy?
The other guy is just sort of generally a bit gross in behavior and hygiene.
Yeah, but that doesn't make you an outlaw. It's the Wild Wild West.
I
Wiki,
think
wiki, wild,
I
wild
think
west.
what he was trying to do because
We should have
this
watched that.
this is what the slow mo in the end reminded me of. They do a lot of slow mo like in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, like that trio of movies. And
Do they?
I think he was meant to be like the
Wait.
ugly character.
I don't think they do.
No, he does. Yeah, there's the whole section when they're the preacher and Slimeball are in the barn.
No,
and
no,
it's
not
just
this
them
movie.
with the
Yeah.
with that kind of Sergio Marconi trumpet music going, and just
Yeah.
them getting ready to shoot.
That's not slow-mo, though.
I know, but I mean, it's that sort of. They thought they were making some sort of tense thing, not slow mo, but it's like tense suspense
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
thing where it's waiting to go, but they just do it so badly. It looks like they were just standing there for 20 minutes in between the fight
Which
scenes.
they literally were.
Yeah, which they are in the film because it goes for like 50 minutes.
So those
just
two
the end
dudes
scene.
that we don't really know get shot. Let's just skip over them because it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter.
Their fights are terrible. It doesn't matter. But they take out all the vampires.
Yeah, they do.
I don't think Rain takes out anybody. It's just the preacher and this guy who we find out is called Slimeball.
The other dude takes out all of them too. He just shoots them. It keeps cutting to him.
He disappears for like 10 minutes. Though.
It keeps cutting to him, taking shots and just shooting them off like the balcony.
Yeah. She recruits. I just want to mention she recruits Slimeball by tying him to a bed and pretending to be a prostitute,
Yeah.
and just asks if he wants to go after the vampires. Did she have sex with him then?
I think so.
Because after he says yes, he's like, "Well, can we have sex?" And it just cuts away. So I don't know what was happening with these people. Cut to the next night, and they're all riding into town.
Yeah.
Straight into a trap. They just walk into the center of the town, so of course the vampires
they don't
open
ca-
up on
She
them.
goes. Well, we basically know what's happened. We've already explained it. So the townspeople then, because it's cutting back and forth, the townspeople thing is they just deliberate over what to do for like half an hour while going in and out. Eventually, the governor goes out, gets shot, in and out, in and out. Eventually, they go out and shoot the last vampire. The two slime guys, whatever they are, they shoot lots of vampires, then get shot, and the other dude just shoots them from the dark
And then disappears.
and then disappears till the very end.
Yeah.
So let's go to Bloodrayne, our main character who
So
has
rather than
probably
like
said nothing.
actually doing any, I don't know, she says
She
a lot of
says
terrible things. For some
nothing.
reason, throughout the film, she has a safety match in her mouth,
Oh
and
my
she's constantly
goodness.
trying to talk around it.
Get it out of your mouth.
But it I don't know, was it meant to
Wow.
be like
Yeah, good-
distinctive
good,
or
bad, and
something?
the
But it
ugly.
was terrible.
It's
Yeah,
Clint-
it's,
not
Clint
Clint
Eastwood,
Clint
doesn't
Eastwood.
he? Yeah, he has a match in his mouth, but he pulls it off.
He pulls
she
off
can't
real
figure it
well.
out because she's constantly got it in the center of her mouth.
maybe because she thinks
So
it's like a
always
lollipop.
in the way. Yeah. She's like sucking on it like a lollipop.
Yeah, it's like that's not like Clint Eastwood's way cooler.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. They're trying to do the good, the bad, and the ugly, because nothing much happens at the end. There's a small gunfight. She
Well-
fights the bad guy,
Whoa!
and that's about it. But
we're skipping over something
it
important
feels
here.
like it goes for so long, and it does go for so long because there's so much of them just trying to
Doing
do the
nothing.
suspense thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of slow mo
He's
between
watched
scenes.
the good, the bad, and the ugly, and gone, oh, that's how you make a good film. You have them just standing around staring at each other for like 20 minutes. Whereas in Good, Bad, and the Ugly, it's suspenseful and it's like built up throughout the entire film. In this, it's just people staring at each other, getting ready to shoot,
Yeah,
doing nothing
and
for an hour and 40 minutes.
the thing is though, when she goes into town, she goes straight to Billy the Kid, and Billy the Kid, when she opens the door, there's Billy the Kid set up this very elaborate trap.
Sort
was
of
the-
Ruth Goldberg hanging machine sort of thing.
It was the only interesting thing in this entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
The only
so
interesting thing.
He's got all the kids on like chairs and they're all being hung. But she has to hold on to the rope, so she can't fight him. She has to hold on to the rope, or else the kids hang.
Oh.
And one of the kids who's shorter than
okay,
the others
wait.
actually does hang.
Let's explain.
Which
So
is pretty funny.
what happened is the rope must have been connected to the door, okay? And that rope is
I didn't quite figure out how the machine
Yeah,
worked
there's the
because it's
pulleys.
attached to a giant weight.
there's a giant weight, okay? And then there's the kids. So what happens is if the weight hits the floor,
All
right,
the kids
the ropes
hang.
are all up. All the kids are being hung, okay? But so that's why once she opens the door, it starts letting down the rope, down the stone, which brings up the kids hanging them, right? So that's the thing, all this action's happening, and all she's doing is holding a rope,
Yeah.
talking to him.
And
But that was
the
great.
minute
That machine
happened,
was awesome.
The minute that happened, though, I was waiting for her to take out her sword, which is what she uses all the time,
Whoa.
and to cut the ropes.
She had to let that first kid die. We had to know the stakes.
Yeah, we have to, for like 20 minutes, have him just walk around the room with her watching.
Hey,
For
you know what?
20 minutes.
Why did she let that
Waiting-
first kid die?
I don't know. Because she didn't figure out she should cut the rope.
But she does that anyway. There's not like anything else that happens. She literally just lets the kid die and then puts into action what would have saved him.
She is really terrible at killing vampires in this
It was
movie.
a cool machine. Though.
Because
I did like
the
it.
preacher and Slimeball take out like 90% of the vampires.
I gotta say, I've never seen a movie that introduces a hanging machine for kids.
You really enjoyed watching the kid die.
because it was so. I was like, what? Wow, this movie's actually doing something interesting for once.
Yeah.
So she cuts in, lets all the kids go.
Eventually,
she
in
just
between the
fights Billy
cuts
the
to the
kids.
other suspenseful nothing happening,
She fights Billy the Kid, beats
in
Billy the Kid,
such an anticlimactic
kills Billy the
battle
Kid.
scene because I don't think either of them could actually fight.
No.
So for some reason, they decide, oh, no guns, it's got to be knives and swords. Except he doesn't have swords. He's got like 2 little Bowie knives, and she's got 2 giant swords.
They're not even Bowie knives.
It starts off because you've got to do the traditional fight, even though she's like by this point 100-year-old vampire who's slain like hundreds of evil vampires. He basically just beats the crap out of her real quickly. Comes out and starts tormenting the town, who are all aiming guns at him.
Yeah.
What did he think was about to happen?
Oh, yeah, then the other dude brings out that Gatling gun and shoots him.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Rain doesn't even kill Billy the Kid.
Rain is terrible in this movie.
Well, okay, so she does one thing. She comes out and now, she does that I'm gotten serious thing, but instead of an actual cool fight, she just slashes at him and his knives fall apart and he staggers backwards. And yeah, the surviving Crimson, what are they called?
You just screwed up now. I can't remember. Boulder Dash people. The
Crimson Fire.
It's not Crimson. It starts with
the
B.
people who,
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, whoever he is, he opens up with this big machine gun he's found and like blows him apart.
Yeah, and that's great, I guess.
And,
There was
yeah.
the only other thing I wanted to talk about was there was a scene earlier on where they thought it was really cool to show, hey, this doesn't make any sense actually.
A lot of it doesn't make any sense. So in a well-made movie, what would have happened is she'd have gone into town, gotten arrested, managed to escape, and then she would have teamed up and gone, okay, we've got to put a team together. But because they never explained that they're putting a team together, it just feels like for the middle part of the movie, they've just gone off and they're in a different movie. And then eventually they come back. Yeah.
So they do that ramp, vampires have no reflection, okay? But I just realized they did it earlier in the bar, right? When she like reflected it back on the other vampires and it's only her standing there.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see the vampire nor his clothes, like, or anything. Like, it was just no one was there, right?
I wasn't paying that much attention.
So it was like no one was there, right? And then later on, you see Billy the Kid, and he has a mirror scene as well, except that his clothes are there. And
I'm pretty sure that's where most of the budget went into this one little scene where he takes a shot of whiskey and you watch it from the mirror, so it just looks like the whiskey is like disappearing.
No, but what
into his
happens
clothes.
because they did it poorly? It's like he takes a shot, but you'd only see. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to get the vampire bit right.
You were wondering why the whiskey didn't disappear when it entered his mouth?
Yes.
Why did we see it go into his stomach?
Why did we see it go down his throat? Because does that mean if Billy the Kid was naked, right?
Yeah.
And he was eating, we'll just see all that food in his stomach? According to this movie, yes.
Well, I think we're both putting like more thought into this movie than anyone else did during the writing phase.
Yeah, that's
because it
actually,
is so disjointed and poorly put together, especially the last half.
I have one more scene I want to
Because
say.
the final battle scene in the town is so badly structured, it is painful to sit through.
The only other thing I want to talk about, I only want to say the one other thing that made me laugh in this movie was a scene where this girl comes out to her mum, and the mum picks her up, and she just goes, "Sally did not make it." And then the mum goes, "I know, sweetheart, I know." And they just walk off, and I'm like, how do you know?
Yeah.
How did you know this?
It cuts to the next day, and apparently the journalist has become the sheriff
Who cares?
for some reason,
I
and she
think-
rides off to fight the Clanton gang, who are vampires.
I honestly think the way you just ended it before with, we've spent more effort thinking about this movie than anyone like making this movie did, probably sums up that we should just end this.
I want to explain.
It's like-
I want to explain
No,
why
no.
the end fights annoyed me so much, right?
Because they're
So-
crap.
If you're like building up to like a gunslinger fight and they're getting ready to shoot and they're trying to build tension, you don't cut away from it for 10 minutes. It ruins any kind of tension. It's just so poorly made. It's frustrating. Would you recommend this movie, Jared, to
Nah,
anybody?
it's pretty boring actually. It's a really
The
disappointing film.
premise is like kind of stupidly entertaining. Vampires in the Old West. Yeah, okay. It's just so poorly made that you can't enjoy it. If this movie had been 90 minutes,
It's just too
well,
boring.
if it had been shorter, if it had been much shorter, like only an hour long, it would have been maybe okay. I think I'm just gonna say if you forward through like 90% of this film, you'd get something out of it. But there's just nothing there otherwise either.
yeah.
I mean, it's such a simple, empty film.
Though we will see Bloodrayne, the Third Reich.
Eventually,
So, but this is what I'm a little bit worried about.
I would not recommend this film. It's just
surely
too long, too
Bloodrayne,
boring.
the Third Reich will be. They just don't have fun, do they? They don't. They didn't.
These
take
aren't fun movies.
They don't. Well, no. The first one, honestly, had for me.
The first one had some stupid, entertaining bits, like with meatloaf and shit.
Yeah, he had the meatloaf. You know, we got to see tits. That's always nice. We
The
had
main problem with the first one was the actors just did not care to be there at all.
yeah, and the second one, I think the problem is it's bland and boring. And
If I had to pick something out that was wrong with Bloodrayne Deliverance, the main actors are terrible,
mhm.
and just the way the story and the movie is structured is just so bad.
Well, all I'm saying though is
Especially
like,
the second half.
when you hear it's, you know what they've done? He started doing the freaking like stupid Sharknado stuff. Essentially, that's what he's done.
Sharknado is a step up from this.
No, what I'm saying is, but only in like namesake. Like they've got, how about them Bloodrayne in the Wild West, and you're like, oh, that's so crazy, that's gonna be great, but it's not. It's just boring. I'm probably being way too hard on Sharknado there. Like Sharknado is like, let's make that. What I'm saying is, their whole stick is like, let's make a crazy idea and just run with it for fun, right? This movie, this sounded like that's sort of what they had the idea of. Let's just
They just
do
didn't know how
Bloodrayne.
to actually make a movie.
Exactly.
Like Sharknado is stupid fun, and
Yeah.
but the story, it works. Like it runs together smoothly.
So we're gonna have
one
to do
scene,
Third Reich though.
one thing follows from another. That doesn't happen in
Could
this
do
film.
Sharknado or Wiki Wiki Wild West.
Wicked Wild West.
Wiki Wild West.
All right,
Yeah, I want to do that, but we'll probably have to do Bloodrayne Third Reich.
eventually. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. That was the podcast. Thanks for listening to the end of the reel. If you know anyone else who is a fan of good bad movies, share this podcast around to them. Sharing is the best way to help promote our podcast.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye bye.